In the last 5 years, she has spent her time with being a care coordinator in chronic disease management. She has worked with diabetics, doing nutrition teaching, counting carbs, and what foods to eat to help their blood sugar. And also, with all the patient care she has done, she wanted to work with prevention wellness. She started her business with coaching and mentoring 3 years ago. And in her spare time, she likes to read, travel outdoors, hiking, biking, boating, fishing, and camping. And she also is the owner of Soulful Smoothies in Waconia. So, welcome, Trisha, and I'm going to hand it over to you.
Great. Well, hi, everybody. Very happy to be here. Yeah, as she mentioned, my background is quite diverse. I actually have a really fun time when people ask me, what do you do for a living? I'm like, where do I start? So I wear many, many hats, but I love them all. So I do have a 1 to 2 times a week. I have a nursing job that I do go to that I love very much. I never really wanted to completely give up my nursing career. But about 3 years ago, I really transitioned from out of chronic disease into preventative um, health and wellness, really trying to really work with my clients on either managing or preventing the chronic diseases from even forming in the first place. And so I found that really valuable. And as I got into the coaching, things kind of just started evolving, right? Which is awesome because being an entrepreneur and a business owner is very much a personal growth journey in and of itself. And so it's been really fun to evolve and transform myself as I've been on this journey. And so I started having all these clients come to me that were wanting help with weight loss, which I thought was really interesting because I really wasn't putting myself out there as a weight loss coach at the time. But clearly they were drawn to me in some form or another, and then they just kept coming. And so I really specialized in helping clients lose weight. I work with a wide range of clients. And when I talk about working with weight loss clients, I really don't just address food and their bodies because my approach is really more holistic. Okay. So, as you heard in the beginning, I have quite a bit of diverse background in other healing modalities. And so I teach breath work and meditation through the Hive in Waconia. I also do Reiki, which is energy healing. And so I also do like a floating meditation and sound bath. So I'm very much drawn to sound as like vibrational healing as well. So it's really fun for me to really dabble in all the different healing modalities that are out there. And so I really found with working with my clients that really just talking about the food and nutrition wasn't quite enough. We really needed to dive deeper underneath what was underneath the weight. Okay, because a lot of our physical weight can manifest as emotional weight that we're carrying around, right? Or the other thing is really addressing the mindset that got them there to begin with, or that is preventing them from losing the weight to begin with. So I've done a lot of research and education on mindset, subconscious conditioning, right? Because we carry these limiting stories and these limiting beliefs about why we can't do this or we can't do that, right? Or we categorize something as hard, right? But when we do that, we just create more hard, right? And so it's really moving beyond and becoming cognizant of our thought processes along the way. So we spend about 95% of our time in our subconscious mind. Okay. So that is our where we store our memories, where we store our experiences, where we, store, beliefs that we kind of grew into as kids, right? So think of this. So you see a parent with a child and you say hello to the child, and the child doesn't respond to you. They just kind of bury their head into mom or dad. And the parent says, oh, she's or he or she is just shy, right? So right away, you're creating, and then if you hear that your entire life, you grow up to believe, well, I'm just shy. Or, I mean, it could get into a whole range of things, right? Well, I'm just overweight. That's just who I am. That's how the rest of my family is. This is just you create this identity, right? And so part of the process is really identifying, creating a new identity for yourself of who you want to become. Okay. So are you somebody that is attempting to lose weight, or are you somebody that is losing weight? So do you see the difference there with how just rephrasing your thinking can change your mindset, can change your subconscious thoughts into actually being able to perform the act and the goal that you desire, which is losing weight? And so it's really about kind of putting on the shoes and walking in the shoes of someone who is already doing what you want or has already accomplished what you desire, right? So, what would a person do that loses weight? So, if you think about that, what does a person do? So, a person who loses weight is they're consistent, they have follow through, they are showing up for themselves every single day, they are monitoring their thought process to tell themselves that they can do it, not that they're going to try to do it. So that's another thing. So I heard a quote recently, and I was really kind of fell in love with it because it was trying is lying. Okay. So when say that we're trying, are we really? Because think about it. If you have a friend that, calls you up and says, yeah, I'm going to try to come over later, are you going to believe them? Chances are they're not coming when they say they're going to try, right? So you're not probably going to believe your friend. So why would you believe in you and yourself when you say that you're trying? So it's really important to be able to choose your words wisely to really set you on a path to great success. So, so mindset is super valuable. Working on the subconscious mind is going to really help you program that software. I like to think of it as like your hardware, and your software is going to be your conscious mind. So if we start feeding our conscious mind the things that we want or desire, right? I am losing weight. I am having a healthy body. I am choosing foods that are healthy for me. I am losing the weight, right? So if you can start with these affirmations and telling your conscious mind, doing that repetitively and consistency will change that programming that you've got going on. And so it's really valuable, like I said, to be able to address all of the pieces of you, not just your body, not just your food, but also what is your soul desire, right? Like what does your soul say? And do you stop long enough to even listen to what your intuition is trying to tell you about certain foods, for instance, right? You can have mindful eating where we really kind of take a pause when we're finding ourselves going through cupboards and you're like, what do I want to eat? And then I like to tell my clients, when you get to that point and you start rummaging through the cupboards, pause, ask yourself what it is that you really need right now. Is it food? Are you truly hungry, or are you craving something else? It could be deeper. You're craving attention, you're craving love, and you're turning to food as comfort. And so sometimes just removing yourself from that situation and going for a walk or listening to music or getting on the phone and calling a friend can be really helpful to kind of get yourself out of that mindless eating, because when we get into that, we really start consuming more calories than we really need. And then we get into an overage of our calories instead of a calorie deficit. And as you all know, we really do require a calorie deficit to be able to lose weight. But we can do that with choosing healthy foods. So, instead of filling your stomach with a cup of crackers per se, versus a cup of berries, you're going to get the nutrient density from the fruit, and it's going to be lower calories, and you're going to get the benefits of the fiber in it, which is going to be able to, fill you up longer and sustain you longer than that bowl of crackers would, because those crackers really are just a very quick carbohydrate, right? They're going to give you a burst of energy, and then you'll find yourself crashing after. And it's really going to be kind of a really quick up and then a really quick down. And so, being in chronic disease management and working with a lot of diabetics, that can be very taxing on the pancreas, as many of you may or may not know, right? Because anytime we introduce a food like that, our pancreas has to respond in the form of releasing insulin. And just like anything else, right, can wear out over time, our pancreas can do that as well. And so when we are constantly introducing these artificial sugars into our body, and our pancreas is constantly pumping out insulin to try to maintain that blood sugar level, then we can get into some of those problems and issues with type 2 diabetes, which is, adult onset lifestyle, basically diabetes. So it's really important to be able to pick and choose your battles, as I like to say, with our food. So, vegetables, again, they're going to have more fiber. They're going to give you the nutrients that you need, rather than, picking that cookie. Again, that's going to just be more of empty calories. And if you look at the nutrient density, right, you get a lot more of the fruit versus one cookie. So you might get an entire cup of fruit compared to one cookie, is what I'm trying to get at. And so, really paying attention to the foods that you're putting into your mouth. I like to teach my clients to really just getting back to the basics, and more from the earth, less from a box. Okay, because a lot of the box foods are going to be really highly processed. Again, really empty calories, really not going to sustain your energy. And it's going to be more challenging to create that calorie deficit when we're eating a lot of the high calorie, highly processed foods. So honestly, just getting back to the basics: fruits, veggies, lean meats, nuts, seeds, are all fish, really great options. So the less that you are, the less that you're eating, like I said, from a box or from a pre-packaged meal, the better. You're going to find that you're going to actually have more energy as well, eating those types of foods in comparison to eating the processed foods. So another thing that I really want to point out is fiber. So fiber is super valuable in your diet as well. So really paying attention to nutrition labels and looking at the amount of fiber that is in there. The higher the amount, obviously, the better, because again, the fiber will help sustain you and hold you off longer between your meals than a very low fiber food. And so, and fiber also has the added benefits of keeping your GI system in track, and also helping maintain your blood sugar balance. And also it's really great for cardiovascular health. So there's lots of bonuses to increasing the fiber in your diet. The other thing I like to teach is really cutting back on sugar. Again, kind of gets to the processed foods, but really cutting back on all those artificial sugars is going to be super beneficial for you on your weight loss journey, because when we consume a lot of very sugary products in the form of baked goods, candies, um, the processed foods, things like that, it just it automatically just turns into fat in the body. And so the body is just going to store it. It's just going to store it. It doesn't recognize it as a nutrient, and it's going to just store it. And so, yes, sugar does have fruit, but it's more of like the natural sugars. And then, like I said, you get the added benefit of the fiber in there as well, which is um, going to only make you feel good, right? So, really keeping, and for women, the recommended allowance is 25 milligrams or less of sugar. For men, it's 35. And you'd be really surprised if you look at like a granola bar that you think is like a really healthy, it could be labeled as a health bar actually, but if you look at the sugar content, it might have 15 grams of sugar in there. And then just eating that one bar could really put you over half of your daily allowance already for the day. So it's really valuable to get really comfortable with looking at nutrition labels as well. And so, it's really important to, like I said, with addressing the whole body, mind, and soul, to really get into, you know, what brings you joy as well. So I like to look at the fact that we all have two plates. Okay, so our first plate is all the things that are going on in our life, right? Like our careers, our finances, our relationships, our health, our activity, our hobbies, our spirituality. So there's all these things on this plate that we have, our first plate. And so if there is something that is out of balance on that primary plate, then it could be throwing off other areas in your life. And it might reflect on your second plate, which is the food that you eat. Okay. So, like I said, two plates. One is who we are, all of our passions, our joys, our career, our finances, our spirituality, and then our plate of our food. And so it's really important to address all of it so that the one doesn't affect the other. Because typically people will use food as a source of comfort for dealing with stress, right? Or for dealing with, how many times have you heard in the past, well, so and so broke up with so and so, and I'm just going to eat a tub of ice cream and a box of cookies. If that isn't comfort eating, I don't know what is. But this is the conditioning that we receive throughout our lives, is that, oh, I'm feeling bad, therefore I need to eat some food. Or how many times has something happened where you've gone to a family member, maybe your parents or grandma and grandpa or whatever, and you are expressing, that, something went wrong in your day. Oh, honey, just sit down. Let me make you something. Or, and again, and it's sometimes it's how we show love, right? Is through food, but we can do it in so many other ways. And so really healing that relationship with food, changing the story and the narrative of why we eat in the first place, right? Because back to the basics, we eat for nutrition. We eat so that our bodies function properly and so that we have the adequate energy to get through our day. And, the way that the world is right now, it can be challenging, to say the least, to have the time to, meal plan or prep or deal with all the things in life that can cause us stress. And, don't even get me started on stress, because stress, again, is a huge factor in your weight loss journey, is being able to manage that. A lot of times, when we have stress, that can really affect our gut health, which is really responsible for our immunity and also for our mental health. So this is why, gut health is so important, is that if we're not eating healthy, like I said, it can affect our mood. It can cause, certain, depression, anxiety, can throw our gut flora off. So now we're more prone to getting sick, or our GI tract isn't working properly. We're constipated, we're having diarrhea, everything in between. And so the body, again, in response to cortisol, which is our stress hormone, wants to hang on to the food that you're eating in the form of storing it as fat as well. And so it's super important to really think about some self-care to do when you're really feeling stressed out. Like, what brings you peace? Is it, okay, now I need to do some deep breathing? So deep breathing and doing breath work is super valuable for really bringing down any anxiety and stress. And so maybe it's deep breathing for you. Maybe it's going for a walk. Again, maybe it's listening to some relaxing music or taking a bath, or, whatever that is for you. But maybe, planning ahead for what will work for you to help you bring down that stress level. Journaling is another great self-care option. If you like to write, just getting everything out on paper can be super helpful. And so, yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm talking really fast because I have so much to share with you guys. It's such like a broad subject here that we can really dive into so many layers. As you can see, I've kind of touched on a little bit on everything. But I'm curious if any of you have any questions so far. Love to help answer any of those at this time.
Yeah. Hey, Tricia, Dr.
Yeah.
Baker again.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for all that great information. And, some things that really integrate with what we're trying to do with our non-surgical weight loss program, and some things that just are unique and